everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude. Today I wanted to give y'all a tour of a friend of mine's deck. We've been playing together for a long time now. We actually work together now. And I asked him and he obliged, so I wanted to give you guys a tour of his Atla Palani Nest Tender deck. And I'm sorry about the glare, it's just something that I can't help, and plus shiny cards will do shiny things. So let's get into the deck. Let's start out with the mana ramp, and he has invested heavily into this deck. This is a more competitive style deck, but before that we have to dig into what Atla Palani is. Atla Palani is for one, a red, a green, and a white. She is a human shaman, 2/3 with a tap ability. For 2 and tap her, you create a 0/1 egg creature token with Defender. Whenever an egg you control dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So let's get into the mana ramp. And as I said, he has invested very nicely into this deck. We have a mana crypt, a beautiful white border soul ring, an arcane signet, a chromatic lantern, Farseek, 3 visits, nature's lore, cultivate, roiling regrowth, and sky shroud claim. So we need to be able to get these creatures out quick, fast, in a hurry, and get them going. But we need to protect Atla as well. So for that we need a Swiftfoot Boots, and that is a beautiful foil schematic art. Lightning Greaves. And here's how we're going to get these creatures in fast and be able to get rid of eggs. Altar of Dementia, Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, Goblin Bombardment, and here's the fast. Concordant Crossroads gives all creatures haste. Rhythm of the Wild is selective to you, and Sneak Attack. The card he held the highest about in this deck, which he called the MVP, is Mirror Entity. So for those of you who don't know, Mirror Entity is a changeling, so he's an egg. But his ability for X, until end of turn, creatures you control have base power toughness XX and gain all creature types, makes all your creatures eggs. So in case of a board wipe, Atla Palani sees all those creatures die, and guess what? Now the new board is about to be filled heavily. So into some of the other great creatures that he has in this deck that the eggs will populate into: Avacyn, Angel of Hope, Terror the Peaks, Seedborn Muse, Tyrannix Rex, World Spineworm, Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, Zakama Primal Calamity, Summoner's Egg, Void Winnower, It That Betrays, Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, Kozilek the Great Distortion, Kozilek Butcher of Truth. Let's move that up just a little bit. Optimus Prime as the Dark Steel Colossus, Megatron as the Blightsteel Colossus, Atali Primal Conqueror, and Galta and Maverin. So how are we going to get these? How are we going to get our cards in our hand to where we can try and either sneak attack them out or play them? Well, we got to have a Skull Clamp, because you get to draw 2 and then you get to put one onto the battlefield. Scroll Rack, Enlightened Tutor, Valakut Awakening, Worldly Tutor, Sylvan Library, and Tooth and Nail. Now, it's not all about trying to get the best creatures. It's also trying to have the best creatures. Nobody else should have better creatures than you. So, what are we going to do about that? Well, we're going to condemn. We're going to rebuff the wicked, send them down a path to exile, change their swords to plowshares, hand them a very generous gift, show them the wrath of God, Tibalt's trickery, Chaos Warp, Deflecting Swat, Nature's Claim, Broken Bond, Beast Within, Crossing Grip, and Hull Breach. Now, it's not all about removing creatures and playing and having the biggest creature. Sometimes you just want to make sure nobody else can do it better than you. So, if they're trying to win, he's getting Angel's Grace. He could perform a flawless maneuver if they're going to try and wipe his board. Teferi's Protection, another board protection. Akroma's Will. Tamiyo's Safekeeping. A gorgeous white border fog. A Veil of Summer. A Heroic Intervention. And Boros Charm. And now that leads us into the mana base, which this is a very beautiful and costly mana base for him. Mana Confluence, Command Tower, Jetmir's Garden, Boulder Loft Pathway, or the opposite where it's Vine Loft Pathway, Arid Mesa, Wooded Foothills, Stomping Ground. Let's air this out just a little bit. Sacred Foundry, Crag Crown Pathway, Hallmark it in case you don't draw any of those other sacrifice outlets, Bloodstained Mire, Windswept Heath, Fabled Passage, Prismatic Vista, and Temple Garden. And because he is in the camp of changing over his lands to show how devoted he was to this deck, he actually included White Border, Mountain, Forest, and Plains, which is the same thing I've done with one of my decks that I've spent a lot of time on. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching, liking, and subscribing. If you like this deck, give it a thumbs up. Show them, let me tell them how well y'all like this deck. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate everybody. And I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.